Let's talk again about Zali Steggall, who's been exposed for the most hypocritical political behaviour and who's tied herself up in such spectacular somersaults and backflips trying to explain her behaviour that she ought to get another Winter Olympics medal. Let's be clear, her 2019 campaign got a $100,000 cheque from the Kinghorn Family Trust from a family fortune built on a $3.5 billion sale of coal mining interests to China. But it wasn't declared as such. What was declared was 8 smaller donations, small enough under the law to be listed as anonymous. Only when the Australian Electoral Commission conducted an audit were the facts uncovered. Zali Steggall won't come on this show. She's only talking to the Green Left media, people sympathetic to her cause. And listen to her on the ABC this morning trying to explain her behaviour.
Following their declarations, the AEC reviewed everything and came to us late in, I believe it was that year, to identify that they had an issue with it and audited the accounts. So there really is nothing, not trying to be sneaky, not.
OK, hey, nothing sneaky here at all. Even if we take her at her word on that, she only makes matters worse for herself. Because Steggall claims to support transparency. But because these facts were published by the Sydney Morning Herald, good journalism, transparency, revealing the facts, well, because this has happened, Steggall calls it a hit job. And on Channel 10 last night, she tried to pin the revelations on the government too.
So they are pulling out the dirty tricks and the misleading headlines with friendly papers.
Yeah, no evidence, but blame the government anyway and pretend the 9 newspapers are now friendly to the coalition. I mean, really. This stuff reveals so much about this MP. For instance, she complains that this has received media attention now when it's been on the official records for more than a year. But I ask, why has Steggall not come forward over that whole period? Why didn't she put out a press release or make a statement in Parliament explaining her mistake and correcting the record? It looks like she wanted the secret to be kept forever. I mean, look at what she was saying in Parliament just 4 months ago when, by her own admission, she knew about this $100,000 discrepancy.
The irony that the government has the gall to come into this place, and the member for Sturton, whatever members speak on this after, have the gall to come into this place and talk about transparency and accountability in respect to donations is just breathtaking.
The gall, indeed, the gall. Yet, even still, she denies there is anything to be embarrassed about in taking money derived from coal.
Whether they have supported coal and fossil fuels in the past is not the point. The point is they are now putting their money to good use in actually supporting a transition to renewable energy.
Yeah, you got to love that, don't you? She's saying, yeah, it's dirty money because she's such a green climate alarmist. It's dirty money, but because it's supporting her now, it's going to a clean energy cause, then it's OK. Donate your coal money to a climate independent and suddenly it's clean. It's a kind of political or moral money laundering operation. This is coal-fired conceit. Yet this stuff gets even worse, believe me. Because cop this, not content with blaming the government and the media for exposing her secret, Steggall, without a shred of evidence, has blamed the Liberal Party for why donors might want to remain secret.
It is also because people fear being targeted if they're going to make a donation. And remember, I was trying to unseat the former Prime Minister who's been there for 25 years with a $2.5 million war cheque. Now, people donating to my campaign were incredibly nervous about being targeted by the Liberal Party with recriminations.
Really? Recriminations? When? How? By whom? What an outlandish allegation. Why doesn't she provide more detail?
I've had the conversations with many others in the electorate that have supported me who fear reprisal by the Liberal Party. And look, with respect, I'd have to say having the heading and the kind of attacks that were made on them personally yesterday in the media and on social media would say that is exactly what happens and what's correct. That people then are passing judgment on their past investments, their conducts, who they are, as to whether or not it is legitimate for them to make a donation.
Wow, it's everybody else's fault apparently. Steggall is making this up as she goes along. No one is critical of the donors here. People can donate to anyone they like. What people are critical of, understandably, is Steggall for not declaring a $100,000 donation, presumably her biggest, or declaring where it came from. Steggall campaigns on integrity and transparency, but has kept quiet on this information until it was revealed in the media. And now she attacks those who revealed it, and she assumes the preferred position of any lefty caught out on anything, victimhood. It's pathetic. Look, this is a crucial story because it cuts through the spin. It knocks down the facade of the so-called voices of independence movement. They're essentially a fraud because they masquerade as a loose affiliation of independence, but they behave more like another green left climate party. While they try to pretend otherwise, a vote for them can only help to deliver a Labor Greens government. One big clue is that they're only running against Liberal MPs. And that's why they'll not tell you, they will not say publicly who they would support to form government if there is a hung parliament, which of course, as you know, is a highly likely result. We know they'll back Labor and the Greens to form government. And it's safe to assume the reason they won't say so now is because that sort of honesty might cost them some votes. These independents are funded largely by millionaires and billionaires who don't have to worry about their power bills or their job security. They cannot be trusted. If you want a Labor Greens government, then I reckon you're best to vote for Labor or the Greens, not the great pretenders, the so-called voices of independence.